You're listening to the world-famous White Roof Radio, Woofcast number 629, recorded August 31st, 2017. Tonight brought to you by CravenSpeed.com, MotoringStripes.com, and OutMotoring.com. Mini performance, speed, and style. It's OutMotoring.com.
Go.
Hey everybody, it's DB in Arizona with a brand new episode of the world famous White Roof Radio. We're out of order, and
You're out of order.
No, you're out of order, sir. Actually, Brian,
you're all out of order.
Courtroom's out of order.
We had everybody really revved up. You guys didn't get a chance to see our Slack this week. But anyway, we're out of order. You guys are preempting the bike show this week because Slack was blowing up because of the new mini electric mini concept. And we all have a little bit that we want to talk about. We're going to have just a short show this week. Everybody's out of town this week. Todd's moving to Vegas or something. I don't know. Brian is... he's got to break in.
I don't know what I'm doing.
He's got to break in a new bicycle next week. Nightmare. I'll be traveling, so we're giving you guys a show this week. No Black Roof this week either, so I apologize for that. But we'll make it up to you. Trust me on that. We are going to talk about the new electric mini concept and a little bit about marketing. Is what we're going to do. Just a little. Just a little.
For reals?
Just a little. Or we're actually not going to talk about it. We're going to question it, I think. We're going to do all that. What, Brian?
That's our second favorite topic on here besides mini sales. It's the mini marketing snafu that's going on in New Jersey.
You know, if nothing, we're consistent.
Exactly.
This is all I'm saying. Anyway, really quick, click over to outmotoring.com. Go and look at the cool stuff for you. I want you to make sure when you're there, you're going to sign up for the email newsletter so that you get the email from outmotoring.com. When you do, it comes with your own 5% discount code. So that way you're not actually paying, full price for anything. Super nice. And, I want to tell you, over at Outmotoring, it's got a huge shipment of mini parts. So, we've got save $10 on orders over $100. So see, this is why you guys want to get the email newsletter. Because if you were getting it, you'd have the code to save $10 on all orders over $100 until the end of September. You still got time. You'll find out that you're going to get free ground shipping on most orders over $195. You're going to find that you could buy tools, all the tools that you need to work on your Mini. Aaron's got them over at outmotoring.com. Plus, third brake light stuff, accessories like the soft touch key case, which is really nice, carbon-like hood scoops, car care products, and then all the personal stuff that you need for your person: the shirts, the hats, the shoes, the watches, the belts, and the complete line. Well, it's complete, but the ever-growing line of Aston Martin parts, all available for you over at outmotoring.com. Mini performance, speed, and carbon fiber door trim. Well, it's expensive, but man, that's pretty badass. That's outmotoring.com. Okay, so this week, we're just gonna jump right into it here. This week, we knew the electric mini concept was coming because we knew it was going to be displayed at Frankfurt. We talked about that last week. You guys remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So this week, the actual concept, the press pack, if you will,
shows up in the emails, out of the blue.
Out of the blue shows up, and so Gabe, of course, posts it, and we're looking at the picture of this car, and I'm going to be honest, as far as concepts go, this is quite possibly one of Mini's worst attempts, in my opinion, at making a concept. Honestly, God. And not only that, but I'm the only one that thinks so.
No, you're not. You absolutely are not.
It's okay. There's so much positive, people just going, "Wow, it's actually kind of cool. I like it."
Now, here's the funny thing about this is so this. I get this and I'm looking at it, and then Gabe posted it on Motoring File. Yeah. And the next day, I get a text message from an old friend, former Mini owner, and that's all I'm going to say. And he goes, "Hey, did you see this Mini E concept?" He goes, "Didn't that come out in 2010?" And I go, yeah, the original Mini E came out in 2009.
Yep.
I said, but my attitude, and I said this in our Slack channel earlier in the week, I go, this electric concept looks like Walt Disney's 1960s vision of what future cars will look like in the year 2000. Right?
I'm with you 100% on that.
It's like an animatronic car.
Yeah, it is. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I need to reread everything about this car in a little more depth to see what is it about it, because Gabe talked and he says this was kind of a quick process for the design team. Mm-hmm. They went through this fairly quickly. And I go back and I'm like, really, you can kind of tell. Excuse me, you can kind of tell. But some things stick out to me, like the shape of the mirrors. They changed those completely, and I'm like, why? That's something that's iconic on a Mini.
Sure.
They turned it into a BMW mirror now, a BMW mirror from the 90s.
Right.
I like the wheels. The wheels look like an electric plug. Okay.
Okay.
It's really cool, but that is the one thing the designers said we'll never make it to production because they're impractical. One, and they're imbalanced.
Well, I can just imagine the car would roll down the road going boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
right. And
you'd have to add weight somewhere there because they're not symmetrical.
And they're activating my twitch because they're not symmetrical.
Right. But to me, it's kind of cool because they were given some design freedom in that, and they look like a giant kind of electric plug, if you will.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Okay, so you get that.
Yeah, a little bit.
But all of the things that I'm critical of for this, other than it looking like a 1950s version of an electric car, is it, like I said, we've had electric cars on the road for more than 5 years now.
Yes.
Tesla's been mass producing cars for more than 5 years. We see them everywhere. They look like cars. This looks like a spaceship. Okay.
Yeah, this reminds me kind of, well, you know what? It's not just this, but also like the i8 and the i3, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I saw an i8 today on my drive to work, and the i8 just looks like it's supposed to be like a race car, like it should be out at like a 24-hour of Le Mans race or something, or out on like a road course.
Like
it's kind of. It's supposed to look like a supercar, but at the same time, it looks kind of ridiculous. If that makes any sense. And then the i3 looks like a smoothed over Aztec.
The i3 looks ridiculous. Yeah, i3 looks ridiculous.
It does look ridiculous.
I was laughing at this because the concept of it. If you're a fan of the TV show Big Bang Theory,
yes,
there's an episode where they have like a future moment that's supposed to be 20 years from now, and they show the 20 years from now a street scene, and there's an i3 parked on the street because it looks so futuristic. It's a BMW i3, and there's other cars that look more futuristic than that, but there's a BMW i3 parked right there.
Sure.
And I'm like that speaks volumes when Hollywood looks at this and at an i3 and goes, yeah, that looks like somebody's concept of what future cars will look like. It's ridiculous.
And that's what they did here. So if you look at this a little bit more, and if let's focus our attention for briefly on the chin. It's got a chin that's more pronounced than Jay Leno's. And I didn't think that was even possible. And then let's roll back through the body lines and let's look at the fender treatments.
Yeah.
Fellas,
I'm kind of digging those because there's basically they did away with the arches and then just blended into the body.
They put fins on this car. Those are fins.
It's got a lot of the Countryman style front end sides.
Fins. This is the car of the future today, is what this is. It's exactly what it is.
It's hard to tell because what we're looking at is drawings. We're just looking at cartoons of this. None of these cars are. And I blew somebody's mind when I said that the other day. I go, no, you're not. That's not a physical thing yet.
Yeah,
you're looking at pictures that are dropped in. These are all just drawings.
Yeah.
Okay, they're really high renderings of it.
Right.
But that's all it is. And I'm okay with some of the side things. But then the idea of shaving the door handles off. Tesla's already done that. Okay, the Tesla Model S door handles come out of the car, and then they go down flush into it.
Right.
And I know it's all about aerodynamics and making this thing, as efficient as possible because it runs on electricity, of course.
Of course.
But it just seems like they're stealing all of these ideas from the 50s and from what's already out there.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem innovate. I think the word innovation is not what I would say.
No.
I would look at this and go, it's kind of cool, but it looks like it would have been cool 30 years ago.
I think Akari actually makes that body kit already for the R56.
Theirs is a little more ridiculous, but yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think, since Frankfurt is coming up next month, right? September?
Yep.
What do you think is the possibility of this actually being a real thing and rolling out?
I think it's supposed to be. I think they're going to have an actual physical concept there that will look, pretty similar to this when it's all done. Because I remember seeing the Paceman concept and then seeing the real Paceman concept in the flesh. And truthfully, and that's the problem with that is that a lot of people say both the Paceman, the Clubman, those two cars specifically were very close to production finished.
Yes.
When we saw the concepts. This is not.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, this is going back to concept car as a concept. It's like, oh, here, let's play around and see what we can come up with. Okay, fellas, build something that we can take out to Frankfurt, but it doesn't actually need to roll or move.
But
Right.
and as far as the design of this thing goes, let me say one of the more positives about it, I think, is the back end of this car. I really like what they did with the back end. And the boot lid is completely flush now. And it's minimal. The only thing there was a logo in the center, and it looked like it was a printed logo or something else.
Yeah.
I really like that. And the rear bumper, completely flush, no crust, no nothing.
Yeah.
Smooth, sexy. But then again, I look at that and I go, why don't you look at the Model 3 or the Tesla Model S?
Yes.
And go, that's exactly what they did. They
Yeah.
made this
except
there's
Tesla,
no reason to have stuff there.
Except Tesla didn't make any accommodation for a non-existent exhaust like this car did, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Why is there a compensation for exhaust tips coming out the center, but there's no exhaust on this car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just repurposed the Superleggera taillights too, So
they did.
Well, hey, I'm all for that, and there's a lot of people who are saying that those taillights, because they were in one of the spy shots of a clubman on the ring not long ago, had the Union Jack taillights, and I go, that's going to be a production item. That is something that they've been teasing us with. I like them. I like the Union Jack taillights, and I think
it would be cool. Actually,
they don't bother me even a little bit. Of all the things on this car that bother me, that is the least of them. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But,
so it'll be interesting to see what the actual car looks like, what they actually roll out to Frankfurt with. Clearly, it's going to be something that's not going to be functional, if I had to guess. Again, let's look at those wheels. There's no way you can balance those wheels.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you think about this, because they're already talking about this being a 2019 model,
right?
A production model, okay?
Right.
Now, when you read the comments from the designers, they're like, no, this is just a concept, of course. There's still a lot of development that's going to happen before we actually figure out what's going on here. And a lot of it's engineering behind it, because when they did the Mini E back in 2009, they basically converted an R56, which was a giant, colossal pain in the ass.
Right, and they just filled the floor. They filled the floor with batteries.
Well, there's a drivetrain. There's a tunnel for a drivetrain that doesn't need to be there. If you get in an i3, the floor is completely flat. There's no need for a drivetrain down the center of the car.
Right.
No.
Because that's not how it works. That's not how.
Well, that's where all the batteries are, anyways.
Yeah. So they designed the i3 from the ground up instead of modifying something. And this car, as a concept, looks like they just modified the F56. Right. It looks kind of like they did the Mini E. That they just redesign something that's there, and they're going to make some modifications, yada yada yada. Hey, you got an electric car,
right?
But I don't know. I'm a little
realistically, if they're going to make it a 19, we will have to see a physical car by this time next year.
Exactly. So they've got to be farther along than they say they are.
Yeah. They got to be way beyond concept stage. Like, drawings should have been like a year ago. I think we should actually be seeing some sort of rendering. That's why I'm thinking that for sure we're going to see something in Frankfurt. I don't know whether it's going to be working or not, but it'll be rolling out in some fashion.
Right.
It's interesting. I didn't go pull it off the shelf yet, but I have a mini design book that was gifted me by Gert Hildebrand a few years ago, and it's something that I am not sure ever went on sale. They had a bunch of them laying around Mini, but I got one from Gert, and he signed it when he was the chief of design, and I kind of wanted to thumb back through that and see if there was anything even close to this.
Oh, yeah, you totally should. You totally
just to
should
go,
do that.
wait a minute.
Yeah, that would be kind of awesome.
But this has a lot of F56.
This is all F56 with just a crazy body kit, really. That's all it is. And silly wheels and weird headlights.
You even notice, I don't know if you see it here, and granted, I'm sure it's placed with the plug-in, but it's the same place the gas cap is on an F56.
Yeah, that'll
pretty
be
close, yeah. Pretty close.
And you're like, well, I guess if they want to engineer it like that to be that, sure, okay, but DB's right. Why does the rear bumper have to look like that? Like, bump for the central exhaust that there is none of.
Yeah, that's just weird. I don't know. I'm not anti-electric car, and I don't want anybody thinking that I'm anti-electric cars. I'm not. I'm actually very excited for an all-electric Mini. I think it'll be pretty badass. I'm just my problem with electric cars, and this is my problem with the Volt to an extent, with the Nissan Leaf, with this concept, the i3, the i8, is they just look dumb. You know,
but on the other hand, I don't want something that's Model S.
The Model
looks
S
like a decent car.
is brilliant. The Model 3, I think the Model 3 looks like a very simple, streamlined sedan, right? I don't want something that's going to look like a freaking Camry, right? Because nobody wants anything that's that boring. But why does anybody go, oh, it's electric, let's go crazy, let's put fins on it, let's put 19-inch wheels on it, let's do who knows what kind of craziness to it. Why can't just make it like, why not just take the F-56 and build one that's electric? You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a number of engineering reasons, I'm sure, behind that. DB.
Sure, but but essentially start off with the shell of the F-56 and make it look like an electric, like a Mini that just happens to have an electric powertrain. Give it something, make it have that crazy yellow roof, or I don't know, figure out something that's really subtle. And just like, oh, that one's electric, and most people aren't going to be able to tell because they don't know to look for that logo on the gas cap.
Well, here's something you don't really know until it's pointed out to you, and it was pointed out by the designer in the discussion, was they raised the belt line on this. Mm-hmm. It's even higher still yet than the F-56.
Mm-hmm. Really?
It keeps getting, belt lines on cars keep getting higher and higher and higher. Eventually it's going to be like driving a submarine where you're looking at a tiny little porthole.
Yeah, your windows are going to get shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's like an old man that pulls his pants up too far. Eventually, get to that point, right?
Bessie, I can't get my pants on.
I would imagine that's a lot of that has to do with safety, because you keep the center of gravity lower. You're going to keep the occupants lower to the center of gravity. You'll be able to protect them better with more car safety stuff. If I had to guess, it's got to be a safety thing.
There's a little bit of that, but I'm also all for making the car comfortable. Mm-hmm. And that kind of harkens back to, like, finally they're getting back to the concept that Alec Isagonis had when he made the first Mini. Is like, I want to make a car that fits 4 people and their luggage, but it's in a very small space. He's going to make it in a very short space, a very narrow space, and so I think the designers in their mindset, they start looking at it and going, we need to make this more comfortable. So here's one thing we can do to give it a little more interior space. We raise the belt line up a little bit, and it's not so angled in, and there's a little more room inside. The car's a little more comfortable. And,
well, here's some food for thought to you. So how tall the i3 is, right? Just in looking at it.
Yes.
Right.
And how that bottom piece is all battery, right? And I don't even know what the depth is of it, but it's pretty deep. The whole floorboard. Yeah. So if you were to transpose that concept into this, and how low we sit in our cars, Todd. I mean, the F-56, you definitely sit way, like if you look over to the side of your window, your shoulder's pretty low. You're definitely sitting lower than, say, if you were in a 4-door, right?
Right.
So think about what kind of space or occupants that battery pack is going to have to take. Now, granted, in a year, we don't know what battery technology is going to be, whether it's going to be more compact or not. But still, I mean, this concept it definitely falls into that raising of the belt line, because you're actually going to raise up a little bit in the car too, because there's going to be more stuff in there, right? So,
that makes sense.
So it just, in general, it looks like, you can wrap this around an F-56 body line, but at the same time, are you going to be able to make it a real world F-56 body line? Probably not. It's going to end up being like some sort of morphification of it. So, well,
and two, the engine compartment F-56 is pretty large, because they've gone to a 2-liter 4-cylinder. It's a little bit beefier in there. And there's got to be plenty of space for something. The whole electric motor and everything is not going to take up the entire engine bay like it does with a 2-liter 4-cylinder.
No, I mean, because it takes, like, the space that the PHEV electric motor takes up is super small, and even the motor that's in the i3 is super small too. So
right. And the thing about the plug-in hybrid Countryman is that it's also got the 3-cylinder Mini.
Yeah, and that's sitting up front though. But I mean, the electric motor doesn't take up hardly any space at all. So
so that's a good point. Is that there's going to be a little space for batteries up there somewhere. But anyway.
Yeah, and then I was going through this, and somewhere on here, they're trying to harken back to the R50, make things a little bit simpler. And Gabe said that too on our Slack channel this week. And I posted a picture of an R50. And this doesn't look anything like that.
But the back end, DB, I'd beg to differ, not to defend Gabe here a little bit.
And I'm not a designer.
The back end does harken to an R50. It's very clean and smooth.
Sure. But, I mean...
but that's it.
That's it. Just I'll give it that, but that's it. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's about as far as it goes, because I think the front end is pretty awful. I still hate the giant open mouth. I think the grill is way too large.
Yes.
And an electric car, it's unnecessary.
Right.
You don't need airflow in there. There's no radiator there anymore.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, if it's for airflow and aerodynamics, I get it, but good Lord, that is one of the worst, most panned parts of the F-56 since 2014 when it came out, is that giant mouth on the front. And it harkens to a lot of cars. It was a trend, and I blame Mini for following the trend of Mazda, Toyota. Ford did it. It's hideous, and they're starting to all go away from it. Thank God that they're all starting to drift away from this giant grill. Lexus has a giant grill there.
Lexus is the worst.
Yeah.
Lexus has got to be hands down the worst grill in automotive.
Yeah, it just gets bigger, though. I mean, every year that stupid grill gets bigger.
I know.
Right.
It's so bad.
It's almost a joke now. I mean,
I'm gonna punch him in the grill, man.
There you go.
It's a joke
Anyway,
now, but I think
I want to say I think we're all excited for the electric Mini in whatever shape it takes. I just honestly hope that it doesn't look like this.
Well, and here's the thing too: is it's hard to get excited about it because what appeals to me about electric cars and what appeals to me about Tesla specifically as an electric car is the technology that's in there. And by the technology, I include number one, the range.
Sure.
Is that you can get a car that goes 200 plus miles on a charge.
The base model will go 200 miles on a charge.
Yeah, which is conceivably plenty for your average person. The Tesla technology, the Model S, for example, in the different models can go 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got performance. It's fast, and that's got to be fun.
Sure.
I've driven in a Tesla before, and I've driven in ludicrous mode that went 0 to 60 in like 2.5 seconds, and you get tunnel vision, and your guts turn into jello. It's frightening. It's terrifying almost, but fun and exhilarating. So those pieces of technology fascinate me about the Tesla. The in-dash system that Tesla has, the giant iPad in the
giant iPad,
it's awesome. The doors, the handles that come out of the door automatically when you unlock it to get in, and they suck back into the body. That is awesome. And the other thing that impresses me about Tesla is the comfort of that car. It is a luxury car. There's the Model S anyway.
Sure.
There's no question about it, and that appeals to me. So I think on the levels of appealing to most people about electric cars is they want technology and comfort. And right now, the Volt, it's doing okay. The Leaf, not so much. I think car companies have to innovate, and they have to innovate, beyond what Tesla's doing instead of just following. Right. They got to come up with something interesting, reason for me to go, oh, this is worth my money.
Yeah, and they're really going to have to work on the range. Right now, the i3, the longest range you can go on an i3, and that's if you have the range extender, is only 180 miles.
Right.
And that's,
which is way better than it used to be, DB.
Way better than it used to be, because the base one is still only, where is it? I've got it right here. 81 miles was the original on the 60 amp hour motor. You go 80
And if you live in a cold climate, DB, you're barely going to get 35 out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, you're going to get 35-mile range, which is scary.
Yeah.
Then you're running into range anxiety, which is why a lot of people will stay away from something like that.
I mean, that's still better than the Leaf. The Leaf only gets about 100 miles on a charge. Right. And I mean,
and it's like the worst looking car, one of the worst looking cars on the road.
Awful. It really is.
I think it really is too.
Yeah.
The Nissan is just plain.
But you're definitely not buying that car for the looks. I mean,
you're buying that car because you want an electric car to drive back and forth.
Exactly. Same reason why people buy Priuses. They don't buy them for the looks. Those things are hideous.
And that's exactly what I said. It's like, and I think that the number one thing for people buying an electric car, they aren't really caring much about style. Otherwise, people buying Priuses and i3s, wouldn't be buying them. They like them because they're quirky and cool, but they're doing it because of the technology that's there, and it's an electric car.
Yeah.
So I think design and while most of our criticisms have been about design of this car, we haven't seen any specifications whatsoever from Mini.
Nope.
And we won't. If they're true to form, they're going to wait until the very last second. Look at how long it took them to release anything about the PHEV. It took forever to drop that off.
Right.
And really, the only thing we have to go on is the information we had from the first Mini E, which came out in 2009, which is like almost 9 years ago now.
Right.
And really, you kind of throw that out the window because all of that technology is so far antique at this point.
Right, and all those cars got shredded because they only leased them, and those were just done as a test. Actually, they didn't all get shredded. Some got sold to somewhere in Mexico, I think. But they were all shredded, and those cars were all super heavy because they literally were filled with laptop batteries. Right?
That's so scary.
And I think I'm the only.
You're the only one that drove one. No, Gabe might have driven one.
Maybe, but I get to drive it around the corporate offices.
Yeah. And talking about range anxiety, that car, because it was just a test, and I think the range on that car was only like 50 or 60 miles.
No, I believe it was 100, just over 100 miles.
Oh, did they have some in the U.S.?
Yeah, there was 200 of them.
There were 200.
They were on lease.
They were
only in the New York, New Jersey area and California.
Yeah, LA.
So you have to live in one of those two areas to get one of the leases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it was a 2-year lease experiment. Mm-hmm. And if you go back to the archives, we've got an interview with Rich Steinberg, who headed up the program at the time.
Now you're going to make it work.
We also did a video interview. It's probably somewhere on the YouTubes. Of the guy who had the highest mileage, who'd put the most miles on a Mini E.
Yeah.
And that's somewhere in the archives. I interviewed him.
Yeah, that's either on YouTube or in the archives. I'll see if I can dig those out for you guys, and I'll link them up in the show notes.
But anyway, I mean, the information we've got there, it's 8 going on 9 years old.
Right.
So you kind of look at it and go, well, we can't even really use that as a basis.
Right.
I mean, I know they use that technology. They learned a lot from it.
Right.
But they've learned a lot in the meantime.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is a car that comes out that has a minimum of 150 mile range. Minimum. I'm hoping it actually is closer to a 200 mile range, being realistic. Otherwise, it's going to just slot into the city car slot, and they probably won't sell. It probably won't sell very well in the United States.
It has to be competitive with Tesla at this point. Otherwise, it completely is. It's not worth the money.
It really.
Well,
I would agree.
They can't bring it to market without it. They got to at least crack 200 miles.
Right.
Period.
I would have to agree.
I think so too. And to be able to do that at an affordable price is a hard nut to crack. And here's the thing: is I've heard this internally too. Is that from the executives at BMW and Mini in Germany? Yeah. They think Tesla's a joke. They don't consider it.
Sure, they do. That's what everybody says because their jealousy is an ugly green monster.
Yeah, a real threat. And I'm like, no, I think they got to take it a little bit seriously now. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming out with a Mini E and plans for so many hybrid electric and electric BMWs. But at the same time, not taking Tesla seriously is a huge, giant, colossal mistake.
Totally true. Absolutely true.
Yes, absolutely true.
It's a giant mistake. And here's the thing that I also said that Elon Musk is doing with Tesla. That Mini he's succeeded where Mini has not succeeded over the years. Is he's turned that company into a lifestyle brand, if you will.
Yes,
they've got everything from cars to they're working on the Hyperloop. They've got roofing tiles that are solar panels.
Oh, right.
That will power your house. That's supposed to be out within the next year.
Right.
They have charging stations and batteries for your house. A lot of these things, you look at it and you go, somehow Tesla as a brand has turned itself into a lifestyle brand, if you will. Okay. It's a very green lifestyle, a very alternative lifestyle brand. And not that Mini's trying to be alternative lifestyle, but Mini has always, as a company, tried to have a certain, they're about a certain type of lifestyle. Right. We've been talking about it for 12 years on the show, right?
Yeah. iPhones and Chucks.
Exactly. People who drive Minis have a lot of the similar tastes.
Yes.
We use a lot of the same products.
Yes.
Many of us have Apple Watches. We use Apple products, iPhones, yada, yada, yada. Not everybody.
Yeah.
But, we enjoy the same kind of movies. We have the same taste in things.
Yes.
And not everybody, but in general. And so you look at it as a lifestyle and you go, man, Mini's got to be jealous as shit over Tesla.
Right.
Because they are going to be a huge lifestyle company.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think when the Model 3 starts, actually being sold and delivered in mass.
Yep.
it's almost shut out the lights on everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, the Model 3 is supposed to have a range of 220 miles on the base model, which is going to cost 35, which is supposed to cost 35 grand.
Which in reality, I think that's a bit of a bait and switch, because a lot of things I've been reading also is it starts there, but that's like saying you can go buy a brand new Mini Cooper for $21,000.
Sure.
You can. You're not going to be able to find one, and if you want anything but the most basic options on it, you're going to have to spend another $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on it. So realistically, I think a Tesla Model 3 is going to be in the $50,000 range. Mm-hmm. Which makes sense, but looking at it going $35,000, I can afford that.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people are doing.
Exactly.
Here's one thing, is that when they made the announcement about the Model 3, and we all heard about the crowds of people like clamoring to get this car, and they hadn't even seen it yet.
Right.
To plunk down
all I could think about was like iPhone launches, and like what Apple has done and what Steve Jobs did about just creating this like, you have to have this, otherwise you're going to die.
Right.
Yeah. That's how it was with this. We're like thousands of people like signing up. Here, take my money. Here, please take my money on a car. I don't even know what the heck it's going to look like or whether it's going to work for me.
400,000 people plunked down $1,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's like, you don't want to call Elon Musk like is he the Steve Jobs of now? But no, I mean, you definitely don't want to put him in that category. But that's similar. What I feel like when I think about Tesla. I think about, they built this demand and desire to have this car so bad. It's just like people wanting to buy an iPhone.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that Elon Musk is like Steve Jobs, is he's a visionary. And there's been many of them over the years. He may not be equivalent, but he's definitely a visionary, and he sees beyond the now. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think we all kind of admire that, because we admired that in Steve Jobs and what Apple did over the years and over our lifetimes, what we've seen develop, and the things we even balked at the time. When the iPod came out, I'm like, what a waste of research and development is that? Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah. And you're still digging your click wheel to this day.
Yeah, quite a few folks sitting around here. But anyway. I think that's the thing is, you're right, Brian. Many needs to be scared of Tesla, and they need to be as much like them as possible.
It's not just Mini. It's BMW needs to be scared of Tesla, because they are definitely jumping and biting into their market share one car at a time.
Yeah.
No, 400,000 orders for Model 3s, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
They pretty much funded their company for the next 20 years on just that model alone.
Well,
yeah.
And I got to say here two things, just a comment, because I saw a headline on Jalopnik last week, and with all the flooding that's been in Houston, which is horrible, and we hope all of our listeners in that area are okay. The few people I know in the Houston area are doing pretty good now.
Me too.
I don't think anybody got fully flooded out. But anyway, to the point, the article was, there's 500,000 cars that are going to be destroyed in this flood in Houston. Mm-hmm. 500,000. And
so bad.
When you think about that, it's pretty horrible. But on the other end of this, and this is, everything's tragic and all of that, but the other end of a national disaster, and it's a little ways down the line, it's actually good for the economy, and it's going to be good for the car industry.
Yeah, because half of those cars are going to have to be replaced at least.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be a bump somewhere in the industry, because there's 500,000 cars, or even half or 3/4 of those are actually going to be replaced.
Sure, but it is Texas. But it is Texas, so 75% of them are going to be F-150s anyway.
Exactly. But as long as we don't see any fraudulent stuff come out of there, and we don't start seeing cars going into auction that have been water damaged or whatnot,
we're going to see that, Brian.
We start seeing them in other parts of the country. Like that always happens after a major hurricane hits, is that cars that get water damaged, they end up like filtering their way up into the areas that don't get water damage.
So here's what's saying. For the next year, don't buy a used car. You need to go buy a new Mini.
Exactly.
That will protect you from buying a potentially flood damaged car.
And we want you to buy a new Mini no matter what you think of the current advertising photography you're seeing distributed by Mini and Mini USA on Twitter. We haven't even talked about
Mini marketing yet.
Well, we're doing it now.
Yeah, DB, now you've changed the subject. That's good.
See what I did there? A little segue change, Brian. You'll just stick with us, man. You'll figure it out. So And I don't know if some of you guys follow me on Twitter, and you might have noticed that of late I've been trolling Mini and Mini USA on Twitter just a little because of this. I'm really tired now of these ridiculous images that they're using for marketing. I put marketing in quotes. So they've got, and if you look at all the electric Mini concept photos, you'll notice that they're all Photoshop renders, whatever, and they all have that really warming and glowy Instagram filter look to them. And then some of them, they're Photoshopping in people. And the thing with them Photoshopping in people is the people that they're Photoshopping in, first of all, they're looking away from, moving away from, no way associated with the vehicle whatsoever at all. And then the second thing is they're doing a really bad job.
And it's funny because
putting it mildly.
This is the one I just posted in the Slack channel. That's from the Motoring File thing, and I'll probably make this one the image for this week's show. So if you look at it, you get two people. They're walking happily down the street. In the middle of the street. First of all, these people, damn hipsters, walking in the middle of the street, and they're walking by this Mini like it's just this really ultra rare concept Mini. They're not even checking it out or anything. Just like but. It's that the what do they call the golden hour for light for photography. They've got the extra golden hour filters plugged in, so it's all like warm and glowy. But then you look at the car shadow, and the car shadow is kind of going off at an angle, which is weird because I don't know where the sun is in this picture. And if you actually there might be two suns in this picture because there's two sets of shadows. Actually, there's like four sets because the shadows from the trees are like the sun is off frame, but it looks like just don't even get me started. It's so bad.
DB, they shot this during the solar eclipse. Come on.
and then as Todd said, there's the other one with the angry guy who's looking down. Walking away
because he's about to get run over.
I'm sorry. The guy who's walking away from the F-56 and he's looking down. That guy's got to be like 12 feet tall because the photo's completely out of whack, and which is just ridiculous. And then there's the other one that looks like a commercial. It looks like an image for a bakery, for some kind of hipster bakery. What is going on? What are they doing over there? What is this?
I wish Gabe were on here because he liked to say that it's the targeting a market of people,
and that's what he said in Slack today. And I mean, I take Gabe's word as truth on that because Gabe is
marketing. He's an art director.
He's an art director. He's an executive level art director, executive level marketing professional. That's what Gabe Bridger does for his living. And and I don't know how this can. I don't know how these images speak to anybody.
Well,
I agree. I don't see how that can be either. But
it doesn't, and I think he's got an interesting point. Is that car companies and not just Mini are struggling with this right now, of how do we market our brand to a generation of people? I want to say kids, but they're not even kids anymore.
Right.
How do we target our product to a demographic of people who would rather spend their money on a food experience than clothing or necessities in life? Right. And I get that. And my answer, I've been thinking about this all day today because he said this.
That's exactly what Gabe said, and it was a really good point.
It is a really good point. It's got to be frustrating for car companies going, how do we market to something that, we're trying to market our product to a group of people who have no interest in buying it.
Right.
They would rather go spend $100 on a bottle of wine than spend $300 a month on a car payment.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That blows their mind. They'd rather go, spend that much money on eating out than owning a car.
Sure.
And I get this. And so I've been thinking about this today, and I'm like, I think this is the problem with the industry in general, is that Mini is trying to force it themselves on a buying demographic
that isn't
has
buying.
No interest. And no matter what they do, they're not going to get an interest in buying this car.
Right.
Just give up. Just give up and target the people who are actually buying this car.
Right.
Instead of offending them.
Right.
Okay. Target the people who are enthusiasts, the people who are older and have a little bit more money, and go, this is really a great car. I don't care what people think. Right. I'm going to buy it because I like it and it's fun to drive. And then I think on the more experiential level, as far as targeting to these people, you've got to just spread the love of let the market kind of spread itself like it did in the early the 2000s.
Right.
When this car came out, you had a friend that had a Mini and you're like, oh my gosh, what is that?
Right.
Can I drive it? And then they buy it, and then 3 of their friends buy it, and 2 family members.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're poking around, and they end up on North American Motoring, or they end up on MA, or they're on YouTube, and they're watching all those crazy commercials like the ones from Canada and Europe, where people are having sex in the Mini and all that craziness, right? And they're seeing that kind of stuff. Whoa. They get that real viral feeling going, and it turns into the iPhone, and it's like the thing they got to have, right?
Exactly.
But here, now I'm looking at these images, though, right? And first of all, these images, it's the same image that Chevy's doing this really bad right now, right? Chevy's doing this, and somebody else, and I forget who else. It'll come to me. Maybe I've seen some Ford stuff. But I'm looking at the one where there's 2 hipsters crossing in front of the electric Mini, right? One of them's carrying they're walking away from a bakery. And I showed this to somebody without any context at all. It's like, tell me what this picture is trying to sell you. And they thought it was an ad for a bakery.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because this isn't an image about a car.
Which is my point.
This is an image about people going to a bakery, and the car just happens to be there. And and that's my problem with all these images that they're using on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, is these aren't images that are about the car. These are images that are about the people who, like the other one that I mentioned, the F-56. That guy just looks like he had a bad day, or like his cat just died, or he's really upset because he wasn't able to iron his jeans before he left the house. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't say to me, check out this car. This car is really cool. This just says to me, this guy's having a really bad day, so he's walking away from a Mini. Hopefully the day gets better. And
I don't know. I wish I knew more. And Mini doesn't share the demographics of people who buy the cars.
Right.
But, I mean, I got to think, and I got to wonder that it's not a large percentage of the younger millennials, if you will, and which is funny because I read a recent article about millennials saying, oh, everybody says they don't buy cars. Well, now they're getting older, having kids, and moving to the suburbs, and they are buying cars, and they're buying SUVs in mass.
Right.
That's because they don't have to worry about gas prices right now. If we had to worry about gas prices, they wouldn't be buying cars like that. So.
Yeah. Well, but see, I think there's more of an upwardly mobile end of the spectrum. Yeah. There's the slightly more wealthy. We can move to the suburbs. We can afford whatever. It doesn't matter. What it is. In fact, convincing somebody to spend $50,000 on a car that they drive 400 miles a month.
Right.
That's a big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a big challenge for me. I'm in that position to go, I would love to have a lot of expensive cars and I could afford them, but I only drive 500 miles a month. Can I really justify that as a good use of my money? Or, should I save for retirement or take a trip or whatever? I get that conundrum, and I kind of choose the middle ground. I drive something that's fun and I enjoy, a Mini. Mm-hmm. It's a little more expensive than a lot of other cars, but, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
For what it is. You got to find that happy ground. And I think as far as marketing goes, it's a tough nut to crack.
It is, but they need to do something that's a little bit more unique. This is what everybody else is doing. Every brand is doing this hipster marketing, this craft, this artisanal with Instagram. They need to stop doing that. They need to come up with something that's a little bit more unique, maybe a lot more unique, that focuses more on the cars. And I think people might pay attention, even the people that they're trying to market to who aren't even interested in buying a car.
No, I'm sorry, but that video that was posted the other day about the E and people jumping into a pool and this and that, like
what the
hell was that all about?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, am I watching Big Brother?
What was that? It's just like weird.
Well, and here's the thing, and we've been pounding this drum for going on 5 years now.
Right.
Okay. Is that we think Mini has abandoned their base, and by their base I mean the enthusiasts in the United States who built this company from 2002 to 2013, their best sales year ever,
right,
in the U.S. 2013,
mm-hmm.
And I think in 2014, Mini turned their back on the enthusiast community. I don't mean completely, because they still do Mini takes the States every couple of years, but on one hand, I think Mini USA has turned their back on their core enthusiasts. Okay, and it has bit them in the ass.
Yeah. Well, I think
by that I mean that a lot of people were like, I don't like their marketing. What's that?
I think Mini has in general, not just Mini USA. I think this starts at the top.
Yeah. Overall, as a company, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
As a company too, because Mini USA doesn't have a lot of power in what the car itself is coming out, and the marketing has been a global campaign for a number of years now too.
Right.
So, but let me say something that is coming, and this is just a teaser, is that I think Mini USA has realized that. I think now Pat McKenna's in a different position at Mini USA. Our buddy Tom Salkowski's back at Mini USA, and they understand the brand. They've been around a long time, and something that's coming around the corner is trying to build enthusiasm. I
remember you gave us a little bit of a hint about this, but you didn't give us any details.
Teased this a while back, and then I think we pulled it from the show because I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Right.
What is going on is Mini USA is authorizing some full restorations of R53s, R50s and R53s.
Nice.
If you will, to kind of build enthusiasm and trying to get people back.
Right.
And I think it'll work because I think there's some still good ones out there. And I think it's going to be kind of cool if it's done right.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they could still screw things up a little bit. But
wait and see.
Stay tuned for this. Yeah, stay tuned for this. I may be personally involved in one of these projects.
That'd be really cool.
We shall see, but I know that I've been authorized to tease that.
Oh, well, okay. There you go.
Yeah, I'm not speaking out of school here, but I've been authorized to tease that. But yes, Mini USA has officially, from the top down, authorized. But it's kind of it.
That's really great, and all that, and I like that. And there was a company that did that with BMWs back in the day. I don't know if they were authorized by BMW, so it's nice that Mini's going to actually do like authorized, revamps, not revamps, but restorations of like the older first generation new Minis. But it's not going to help if the marketing message is still crap.
Yeah, you're right about that, DB. But I think
it's going to speak to the enthusiasts. Enthusiasts are going to say, "Oh yeah, R53 is life. I'm going to go buy one of those." Great, perfect. So they sold an R53 to a guy who might have bought an F56, but maybe not. Who knows? Whereas they sold that one, but they still lost 10 other people who look at this ad and they're just like going, "WTF is that?" I'm going to go to a Volkswagen dealer instead.
And you're right. It may be too little too late, but on the same hand, I got to give them kudos for at least taking the baby steps towards going, you know what? We had a good thing and we screwed it up. We kind of lost our core here. We lost a lot of customers, a lot of repeat customers who'd been long-term customers, and I know them personally. I bet I could name 6 people off the top of my head who've left the brand as of 2014, 2015, because they're like, I don't like the car. It's too expensive. It doesn't give me what I want. I can get CarPlay. I can get this. I can get that. Navigation standard on this other car, and it's going to cost me $10,000 less.
Right.
And I've seen people buy everything from, God help them, a Nissan Juke
Whoa.
to GTI.
Sorry, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Sorry.
I know. Me too. A Ford Focus.
Subarus.
And I'm like, I think it's time to bring these people back.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, all we can do is sit back and wait. But I just wish that somebody would figure out what they're doing with the marketing, what they're doing wrong, or anything, and just stop it.
Well, my attitude is like, stop trying to market to a generation of people who are not going to buy your cars, no matter how sexy the pictures look.
That's no better than gambling, really. You might as well just go to Vegas and take your $100,000 ad budget for Twitter and just
give it to me.
Because you're going to turn it into commas. Just take it to, just walk in to the big giant slot machine right there at the very entrance of the casino and just get it as a single coin and just play once. And you're going to get your odds are actually better on the Vegas slot machine that you're going to get any money out of it than you are with a stupid ad buy with this damn hipster crap that doesn't even focus on the cars.
What is the old saying? Never try and teach a pig to sing.
What? And there's our show title.
I've never heard that before, but that's pretty cool.
I don't know what it is. Don't try and teach a pig to sing. It's just going to piss the pig off, and I don't know what the saying is. I'm mixing metaphors here, but I think what I'm saying is that Mini USA is trying to market to a generation of people, or at least not a generation, but a demographic of people who have no interest in your car, no matter how cool you make it look, no matter how cool you make it sound.
No.
And
because at the middle of their iPhone front screen, there's 2 apps that is all they need. One's for Uber and one's for Lyft. And that's it. Yeah. That's what those and those are the people that they're trying to market to, and it's those people aren't going to buy cars. It's Alex. It's Alex's generation. It's a lot of Alex's friends, and Alex is one of the weird ones out where he's a huge car enthusiast, but a lot of his friends aren't, and they just like
everybody he lives around and works with said he's crazy for owning a car. Like, why do you waste your money on a car?
Right.
You don't need a car. You live in a city.
Right.
And I get that, and I think that's true. I think that's what we need to be telling Mini USA is like, come back to our side of things. Mm-hmm. Let us be part of this again. White Roof Radio, those of us here, enthusiasts,
right?
And go, we get these people. We still talk to these people. I'm still friends with these people who don't own Minis anymore.
Right.
They're still interested in the brand. We still talk about the brand, and they're interested in what's going on. So you haven't lost them forever. Right. I'm saying that right now, and this sounds like some evangelical, like religious thing, and it kind of is.
It kind of is.
It kind of is. Like, these people stop going to church because you stop preaching the gospel of Mini.
Amen, Brother Todd.
And I'm like, you know what? I still talk to these people. I'm still friends with them. You haven't lost them forever. And if rebuilding R50, R53s and putting them on sale is some way of going, we know we screwed up, we're going to change things, fantastic. Baby steps. Let's keep taking those baby steps. And let's hope that Mini Takes the States next year takes another step in the direction of let's value our enthusiasts, because they are our biggest asset as a company.
Right.
And let's go produce some new, great cars, great technology that's going to make people want to buy them.
And get people excited again.
Yeah, they get people excited and get some enthusiasm going, and not just the yawn. Oh yeah,
Not like these people in any of these images where they can't even be bothered to look at the car.
Exactly.
These images are an exact replication of what's going on with Mini right now. It's exactly what's wrong with Mini right now. Is these people are walking by these cars and they're not paying any attention.
And can I say it's clearly not working because look at the sales numbers. It's clearly not working.
Yeah, clearly.
You can't argue with that, can you?
No.
No argument at all.
We're not rocket science here, gang. We're really not. We look at the marketing materials that get pushed out, and we look at sales. We look at the marketing materials. We look at sales. We look at the car. We look at the marketing materials. We look at sales. Sales are continually down, and they keep shoving this crap out. Oh, okay. Anyway.
Well, let's hope that Mini E comes out with some at least interesting tech and some innovation, something.
Yes,
because we can all slam on the design of it, but if the tech is there and
tech is there, decent range,
and it's affordable.
Well, affordable is subjective, but let's say it's got a reasonable price.
Let's say it's not $50,000.
Let's say it's not $50,000.
Yeah, let's keep it out of the i3 numbers.
Yeah, let's keep it around that $35,000-$40,000 mark. You want
to go buy a used i3 now? I think I saw somebody.
Dude, you can buy used i3s cheap.
$15,000. I'm not shitting you guys.
You're absolutely right, because there was first of all, last year there was a big push from BMW for employee leases. Like, they had tons of them to push out.
Right.
And these leases were ridiculous, like less than $100 a month, for an i3.
That's the old with the pre-range, the crappy range that is not upgradable.
Well, then they had some that they pulled in that had range extenders on them too, and it was still ridiculously. It was still less than $150 a month. I mean, come on, for a lease. Now all those cars are getting turned in, so now you're starting to see a surplus of cars. Like, boom!
Well, not only
they can't sell full pop.
You want to get an electric car even cheaper? Is go look at a used Nissan Leaf. That's been a lease return. You're getting one.
But you just have to keep vomiting every time you look at the thing.
Exactly.
Sure. But
here, I'm gonna go gouge my eyes out first.
Yes.
Sure. But okay. So, but just check it out. You're getting somebody's leased one for 3 years. They drove it for, let's just say 20,000 miles. We'll say 30,000 miles, because who knows why they drove an electric car that much. They're going off on like Autotrader.com for like $8,000 and they're practically new. Still have factory warranty. So,
still no.
Anyway,
let's be done.
All right.
Perfect. Thanks.
Hopefully we solve the problems of the world. And
I really don't think so.
One electric car at a time.
I need another gin, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's why we're stopping, because Todd's out of gin. Really quick, I want to remind you guys about one of the other fine sponsors here underneath the white roof, and that's our friends over at CravenSpeed.com. I want you to go over there, because they have all the cool custom stuff that you want for your Mini, especially you guys that are still in the first gen, the R50, R53s, or if you're in R56, any year of the R56, or any of the variants of the R56, like the Roadster, the Coupe, any of the convertible models, like the R60 Countryman, go over there, or the R55, I'm sorry, the first gen Countryman or first gen Clubman. Go over there, because Craven Speed is going to hook you up with some really cool stuff, like dipsticks that you can read. If you have an R53, you're going to get the Craven Speed pulley, because that's a kick-ass mod. You need a way to carry your phone in your car without holding it in your hand, because you live in one of the states that makes that illegal, or you just have common sense and you just want to be able to see your phone. Craven Speed makes one of the best phone mounts for your Mini. You can actually get totally custom, totally dope. Not only that, but there's stuff for other cars. Like if you've got a Miata, for example, or you know somebody has a Miata and they're looking for something to do to the interior, Craven Speed Short Shifter is one of the best I've ever used. And if you've got an R56, you're silly to not get that for your car. If you've got a Miata, you'd be silly to not get it for that car as well, because it is super duper awesome. Click over to cravenspeed.com. Don't forget too, is if you go to submit your photo into the customer gallery, you get like an automatic 10% discount. It's like a little coupon code they give you right there. Super duper awesome. Save yourself a little bit of coin when you place your order. Plus, you can go over and check out the fine and attractive, good-looking Craven Speed staff and read little bios on all of them, including our bestest bud and proper brown booze drinker in the whole wide world, Kellen.
Awesome.
Yes. Anyway, go over there and check those guys out if you'd be so kind. And of course, it's cravenspeed.com. Cravenspeed.com, Portland, Oregon, since 2005. Love those guys. Check them out. Cravenspeed.com. Thanks. Boom. All right, we're done. Anything else?
Done.
Last chance?
No.
Just because I saw this on the internet today, if anybody's looking to build what has to be the most kick-ass epic Lego version of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh my God! Did you see that? 7,500 pieces.
7,500 piece Lego kit. $800.
Dude, I'm not done building my mini Lego thing, and I've had that freaking thing for almost 4 years.
You're not talking about the one we got from Mini Takes the States
for free.
That should take you like 4 minutes.
I got six. I got 6 of those built around the house. I'm talking the big one. The big one that's like.
Oh, the big one, yeah.
Yeah, the big one. So
nice. Anyway, I just saw that today, and our friend Agro shared that on Facebook, and I thought that was
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's about 10 cents a Lego. By the way, I did the math on that. It's actually I think it was like 11 cents a Lego. So yeah, that's an expensive kit. It was a lot of pieces.
Legos aren't cheap, my friend.
Dude, Legos are not cheap. It's actually not Legos, it's just Lego. But yeah, Lego, it's cheap. But it's the brick of tomorrow today. That works for Lego because, Lego's a very successful company now. We need to do Shuttlecast, and we're not going to do that tonight.
We need to have Bruce Nelson on here. He's a huge
Lego fan. Yeah, I know. Let's go ahead and be done. We're going to wrap this sucker up. I hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. Enjoyed your laborious day. If you're in the Houston or South Texas or Louisiana area, we honestly hope that you guys are fine and we're able to stay out of the way of the tides, Harvey's tides, because it was crazy. Crazy stuff. More rain in like 3 days in Houston than Seattle's had all year.
Yep.
Insanity. Nuts. Just absolute nuts. Anyway, we hope you guys are taking care of yourself, and thanks you for taking time out to download the podcast and listen, because that's super amazingly awesome. Also super amazing awesome those of you who have clicked over and checked out Ride Bikes Radio. That's the bicycle show that Brian and I do fairly often. We talk about bicycles. And we talk about riding bicycles, and we talk about bicycle-related stuff, a lot of community bicycling things. If you are looking for a show about bicycles, go over and check out Ride Bikes Radio, ridebikesradio.com. Available wherever you're listening to White Roof Radio now, unless you're on YouTube. Boom. Done and done.
Boom.
But thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. This is the part of the show where I do like to make the funny clicking sound, and then I say... Questions, comments, or concerns, you can go ahead and click back over to whiteroofradio.com. There you can leave us a note in the show notes. You can also email us, feedback@whiteroofradio.com. But until next week, this is DB. I'm done.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.